this is the side of the Audi S3 that was repaired. This is the driver's side. We'll go in, take a look, and focus in on the wheel gaps. I'm gonna go real low for you here. Now we're looking at the side of the car that was untouched in the accident. This is the passenger side. Take a look at the wheel gaps on this side. I'm not sure if you could visually see that, but it's actually sitting like a ½ inch lower on the driver's side. I honestly had no clue, and the car is driving really very decently. Nothing too abnormal. But the only thing I can gather from all this is that the struts are blown on the driver's side, and it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, we had to replace most of the suspension components there already. We thought we would try the original shock and strut and see if it worked, and again, the car's been driving well, but when I went the other day and put ramps under it, I noticed that the ramp was rubbing on the front bumper on the driver's side. Then I measured, and of course, just by looking, you could see it's a little bit lower. So time to repair those struts. So let's get to it. I got the front strut right here. We're gonna throw that on. I got the rear shock on order, so when that comes in, we'll throw it in and we'll do a final comparison, both sides, see if they're level, and also how different the car drives, of course, with those on. All right, we're ready to get to work. I've got all my helpers here ready to go. All right, guys, you ready? You ready? Where are you going? Where are you going? Why are you leaving? Come on, I need help. Nobody wants to help me. They're all running away. All right, stay right there. Let me bring the car in. Sometimes people tell you to bounce up and down on the corner of the car where the shock is, and if your strut's blown, it's going to start bouncing up and down. Well, as you see, nothing. But these are electronically controlled shocks, and I read that a lot of the times the things that apply to the old shocks don't apply to these shocks. With the car sitting lower and pretty much every other suspension component, especially in this front corner replaced, there's still reason to believe the shock is bad, so we're going to swap it out. We'll compare afterward. So if you see, I've been beating it for like 15 minutes. No, not like that. The knuckle is around there, and actually Volkswagen has something called a spreader tool. Back behind here that you can't see, you saw me using my pry bar probably. But it basically does the same thing. It'd just be a lot easier because I think you can stick it back there, hold it, and then tap the thing out. But gotta deal with what we have now. This is YouTube call out 2017. Everybody's calling everybody out. Well, Turbo Mike, you were supposed to be here like an hour ago. Where the hell are you, Turbo Mike? You should have seen it. Whenever we had this knuckle out, we were working on this car to put it back up in there. Oh my God, we were beating on it for like, two guys beating on it for like an hour, and we got it up in there. That all sounds really, really wrong, but all we were doing was pushing the knuckle up into the strut. We're gonna get this done, it's gonna happen, and I watched a Chris Fix video before I did this, so I wanna let you know that I've got Chris Fix power, and he's gonna help me power through this job. Let's hit it. All right, so here on the left is the old strut, and on the right is the new strut. And the strangest thing to me is, I remember a few years ago when I changed out an air suspension, just one strut or two struts on somebody's car, it was leaking a fluid, and these, supposedly they're mag ride, which means they have some sort of magnetic fluid, whatever that means, and there's no fluid leakage in the old one. I mean, if I push this up here a little bit, you can see it's really nice and clean under there. Same thing with the replacement, looks really nice and new. It's just so strange. And again, we're gonna go, maybe this is bent. I mean, these both have the same indentation down here, the indentation here and here. But if somebody knows, you know, I always like to learn. So somebody hit me up in the comment section below. How come this damper could be damaged? It looks identical to this, and there's no fluid leaking or anything. Tell me if I'm crazy, or maybe I'm just doing unnecessary work on the S3. Chris Fix coming in with the huge win. He taught me something invaluable when it comes to putting suspension components back in. Now, I've always used a jack to help raise and lower the suspension, make the jobs easier, but on this Audi, you really need a spreader tool, like I said, to pull open the back of the knuckle and then take the strut outer in. But he said, you know, line it up and then put the jack from underneath the car and press up on it. And check this out. Right here, I got the strut all lined up. It was crooked before. Now I've got it lined up. I'm just gonna push my jack a little bit, and you see I gotta still keep things aligned here, but it's pushing up into there, which is perfect, which is exactly what I need. Now I wanna make sure behind it there's a line up mark, and before I get yelled at, there is a jack stand underneath the car, but there's a little notch on the back. It's got to line up, and then the screw goes right through there, and we're set. So let's move this up a little bit more. And we're going to probably have to lower it, realign, and then keep doing it. But Chris Fix, huge thumbs up, man. This worked perfect. Thanks so much. Put back together. So basically, we did have a little bit of issue, so that's why I cut, and now we're here. The new strut's in. It's good to go. Took a quick drive in it. Seems to work fine, but let me show you what happened with the strut when we were putting it in. So right here is the old strut. So under here, this is the connector. This pops in underneath here. You put the wire in. So when I got the strut set and angled properly in the knuckle, I got it all the way pushed up in the knuckle using the Chris Fix method, and that whole electronic piece popped out. And it was at the point where I had to take the strut completely out of the knuckle, pop it back in place, and then lower it in. And while it was coming down, very carefully, hold the underneath, and had Mike was actually here, and he jacked the suspension up a little bit at a time while we were holding from underneath so that it didn't pop out when we set it all the way in. Set in, plugged everything in, took it for a ride. Seems to be working pretty good now. That there, though, it is sitting a little bit lower. I've ordered it, just waiting for it to show up. Since we're working on Volkswagen products today, I thought I'd show you Mike's 2007 Volkswagen GTI. Now, I really like this car because this is the second car I ever purchased. Mike's actually the original owner of this one right here. Bought it brand new in 2006, seven. It's still on the roads, got 160,000 miles. Now the other thing is, I already talked to Turbo Mike. This is a nice car and it's in fairly good shape. I'm trying to get him to move up to a different Volkswagen, but that's another story. So yeah, I know a lot went on with this video, kind of threw Turbo Mike's car in there, which by the way, like I said, I'm attempting to get him to upgrade to another Volkswagen. We've talked about it in the past. I think you guys know which one I'm talking about. However, if you have any interest in Turbo Mike's GTI, that might incentivize him to move up to the, you know, that other car. The whole reason I showed you some of the work on the S3 today is to remind you, rebuilds sometimes don't happen overnight. The second car I did was my Lincoln MKC, which I'm going to do a video on, tell you all the numbers on it. That car I brought into a body shop, I gave them all the parts, I got it back about a week later, completely finished, and maybe had $200 in the cosmetic fixes down the road. One of them not even caused by the accident. It was a little chip on the mirror that I got taken care of after the fact. But that car took a week. This Audi I bought in March of 2017. And a big delay in the Audi was waiting for it to get into the body shop to get the body work done. But a lot of the times these rebuilds, they take a little while. The Money Pit Jetta isn't 100% complete, and I bought that car in October of 2016, if that goes to show you. Now the Money Pit Jetta is, again, another story I've kind of lost interest in. I've put it to the side. I plan on getting it a 100% in the next coming weeks here. And again, I'm trying to talk that certain someone into that certain Volkswagen, so that'll get done soon. If you enjoyed watching me wrench on the S3, let me know in the comment section below if you want to see more of that sort of stuff. Remember, rebuilding can be a lot of fun, but it can take a lot of time, a lot of trips to the parts store. Sometimes you just want to get the major kinks ironed out and roll down the road, and if that's what you want to do, by all means, do it. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. And again, any questions, whether you got a cool auction story, whether you're interested in bidding on a salvage car at the auction, whether you have any questions about the S3, hit me up, samcrackauto@gmail.com. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you very soon. Don't you love it when someone's supposed to help you and they decide to go out and sunbathe? They're just sunbathing. You're just sunbathing. Come on. I need your help.